guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am super excited for October to be here because I am back with sharing projects for Wild Whisper Designs. And before I switched over to Christmas Comfort, which is the October release, I wanted to squeeze in one more project with the Farmhouse collection, which was the September release. And so I have grabbed this kind of like creamish colored background paper, and I'm showing you there, I want to leave that red branding strip that's along the bottom in place. So instead of trimming off the branding strip, I'm trimming the other end of the 12 by 12 paper. And then I have this black and kind of creamish white colored pattern paper that just has all of like the farm sounds on it. So things like moo, cluck, oink, those types of words. And so I'm working with a 4x6 photo of my son today. And this is a really funny part of his story that I wanted to tell. And so I'm originally thinking that I'm going to be working in kind of a diagonal format. So I'm thinking when I start that I am going to have embellishments on the top left and the bottom right and then the very bottom right corner. And so that's where I'm starting. And I know that I want to cut out this red circle that just says Certified Farm Fresh. And so I'm fussy cutting that. And so this is a picture of my son on his kindergarten field trip. And they went to a dairy farm. And I got to go, which was awesome. And so we like took a tram and checked out all the cows and found out how they like make and process milk. And they gave them all these really funky flavors of milk to try. And then they take them outside to like run around and play and do this little petting zoo thing. Well, my son is not like an animal fan. He freaks out, like at a puppy dog or an ant or like any kind of animal whatsoever. So I am talking to one of the other little kids in my group, and I hear, "Mom, look!" And I turn around, and Parker is holding a chicken. Well, I am like seriously mystified about how my son ended up like within the same vicinity of a chicken, let alone holding the chicken. And he has this big old smile on his face like he goes around and is with all the animals, and that's just part of what he does. And it struck me as the funniest thing because here is this kid who wants nothing to do with animals, and he goes on this field trip and decides, yeah, I'm just going to hold a chicken, and that's normal. So I end up at this point in the layout kind of changing my mind about where I want things to go. So I started out in that kind of diagonal format, and as I'm messing around with the embellishments, I decided I like them a lot better in a line. And so instead of creating that diagonal, I'm going to create a line right along the bottom of that pattern paper. So what you see me do is I went ahead and put the farmhouse and the little chicken feet that I'm going to use for my journaling, and I glued them flat with my photo. And then I'm putting some dimensional adhesive on the 3 other embellishments that are going to go in that line because that's going to add some dimension and texture. So I've got my farmhouse, I've got my Certified Farm Fresh, and then I'm going to have this little black and white phrase that says life is better on the farm, and that's going to overlap my photo. And I'm really liking how that came together, much better than when I was trying to work on the diagonal. So now I'm also going to take my little chicken friend here that's going to go on the bottom, and I put him on some dimensional adhesive as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of this jute across the top. So I'm just trying to decide how I want that to look. And I'm just going to grab some washi tape and I'm going to tape it down in the back. And then I'm going to take one tiny little glue dot and secure that whole line of jute in the middle. So that's going to kind of leave it to where it's lined up with the top of that pattern paper. And because I have that element up there across the top of the page, I also feel like I need to carry that element through into the bottom part of the page. So I am going to keep going with the same exact design element. And I'm going to continue it later in my layout. So you can see I am putting that little glue dot right in the middle. That's going to kind of make sure that that doesn't flip and flop around a whole lot. And then I'm going to add my jute to the bottom of my little journaling card. And I'm just going to tie it in a knot. So here's where the problem comes in. I've tied the jute at the bottom in a knot. So that means my jute at the top also needs a knot. At least that's what it means in my head. So I am going to go back and add a little jute knot into the top little embellishment as well. And then I am just putting a glue dot underneath each of the like knotted part of that jute so that it's also going to stay in place because I don't want it to move all over the page. I kind of want it to be nestled in with that little red Certified Farm Fresh. And then I also want it to be across the page in that top left. And so now I've went ahead off screen. I filled in all my journaling talking about his kindergarten field trip. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on my title down here at the bottom. And I apologize if you're getting some background noise. I'm not recording in my normal location, so I'm sorry. It's loud. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. So I'm going to go ahead and use these black foam thickers to write out the word farm. And then I'm going to grab those circle stickers underneath and use those to write out on the. So my title is just going to say on the farm. And I am going to overlap those a little bit, which means I am going to have to go back, and I do this off screen and add some additional adhesive so that they don't come off the page later, which to me, these chipboard thickers tend to not have a whole lot of strong adhesive on them. So I always feel like I need to add some additional adhesive. Is anybody else like that with thickers, specifically the chipboard thickers, it seems like? So now I'm just trying to decide if there's any other little additions I want to add, and I try out and kind of audition that little greenish colored piece and decide it's not really going to make the cut. There's not a whole lot of that color anywhere else, and I'm liking kind of the linear look that I have going. So I'm going to instead go ahead and grab some of these little cork arrows, and I'm going to add 2 of those down by my title that kind of point to the on the. And then I'm going to repeat that same element up over the top of farmhouse so that I've got 2 up in that spot and 2 down in the on the farm. And I know that that kind of goes against the whole like rules of 3 thing, but I like it and it works for me, so I'm going to leave it like that. And that's basically going to do it for this layout. So like I said, I wanted to squeeze in just one more layout with farmhouse, and I will be back next week starting off with Christmas Comfort, which is also a really fun Wild Whisper collection. And I will be back to see you guys really soon. Bye!